who I guess I can only assume are all bought as well, who have all been, most of them have been infiltrated as well, who refuse to present an accurate, clear, unbiased and balanced picture of this conflict sort of thing. To what end, guys? I'm still struggling to figure out as well. Because if they are aiding these extremists in bringing down the Western world, they don't benefit. None of these liberal-minded media networks, CBC here in Canada, for example, BBC in Britain, you know, it's like I can't stomach the CBC anymore, because I understand that it's been nothing but endless lies and propaganda and a one-sided representation of this conflict ever since it's been on the go for the past 2 years. You know, what poisons me even more is that the CBC has its own official YouTube channel, guys. You go into it and you can't even voice a comment on CBC anymore, their YouTube channel. They've got their comment section disabled. There's your democracy for you. They don't even want freedom of speech on their YouTube channel, where people can voice differing opinions about the way they're covering these stories. That's how much of a free democratic institution the CBC has become now. BBC is the same thing. They operate hand in hand with the way they're covering this. But to what end, I don't know. Because unless you plan on converting to Islam at some point when this religion takes over, you're not going to benefit one damn bit yourself by kowtowing to them and catering to them and all the rest of it, and pushing their agenda on the rest of us. So I mean, they're only shooting themselves in the foot at the end of the day, sort of thing, and doing their little bit to destabilize the democracies of the world and to make it more easy for these extremist organizations to get in and to take over. They've played their part in all of that. And like I said, to what end, I don't know, because at the end of the day, they're not going to benefit. And all these bright, educated people, guys, with university educations and the best educations that you can imagine to get into these types of jobs and to be journalists and all the rest of it sort of thing, how can they possibly be so insanely ignorant? Then they appear to come across as being, you know. There's so many things to this that don't add up to for me correctly, guys, but we're not seeing unbiased, balanced coverage of any of this since the massacre just over 2 years ago, sort of thing. So I have to rely on YouTube channels that are presenting the other side of the story to get a more balanced perspective on all of this, because I know I can't trust any mainstream media whatsoever to present the story to me in an accurate fashion. And what kills me is that there's very, very few people out there that do what I'm doing to get the facts of this this conflict, get all of the facts, and to get as balanced a perspective on this as I possibly can, sort of thing, you know. And so, but it's those people that scream the loudest, you know, because they're just brainwashed by the one side of things. And I know this entire town here right now, most of this, 90 to 95% of this friggin' town, I suspect, are brainwashed by all this. Every time I go around town and I see the people around town and so on, I think that in the back of my mind. You know, how many of these people support the lies and the nonsense propaganda that's been pumped out by this issue over the past 2 years? You know, how many would be against me if I were to go public on this, and how many would side with me and side with Israel, sort of thing? Very, very few and far between, I suspect, sort of thing, you know. And that is very sad, and that's very disturbing to realize that so many people, so much of the masses of humanity can be so easily brainwashed, you know, so easily, you know, without taking the time to read, to research, you know. And this is from Christian cultures, guys. This is the other part that blows my mind. This is from Christian cultures. Newfoundland, guys, is a Christian province. Canada is a Christian nation. All of the nations of the Western world were founded on Christian principles. So you're brought up in a culture and a background that teaches that the Jewish state in whatever name you want to give to it, either Judea or Israel, the ancient kingdom of Israel, the ancient kingdom of Israel, Judea, the province of Judea when the Romans ruled, controlled that area, sort of thing. When Yeshua was alive on earth, the Prince of Peace was alive on earth, sort of thing. We have it within our teachings. We grow up with it all of our lives, understanding who occupied that area at what points in time. And the part that I keep saying over and over, guys, whether you agree with Christian teachings or not, or whether you agree with Jewish teachings or not, whether you agree with the religion or not, the religions, and their teachings and their ideologies or whatever sort of thing, the documents that present those teachings can be dated back to the time periods that they claim to be talking about, very, very close sort of thing. So Jewish scriptures go back about 300 some odd years before the Common Era, before the Common Christian Era sort of thing. That's absolutely, substantially, unequivocally proven, you know. So those documents go back 300 years before AD, the Common Era, and they talk about Jews being in that area. They talk about their culture, they talk about their religious beliefs and all the rest of it sort of thing, you know. And then everything that happened from the Common Era onward, AD onward, the life of Yeshua and his death onward, for several decades to a century or so, couple of centuries, whatever, all those documents can be traced back close to the time of Yeshua's life, all speaking about the Jewish people being in that area, their culture, their temple, and everything. You know, so these are documents that are sound, undeniable proof that these people have been in this region for several thousand years, and they had their religion built. Very strong and old already in this area for several thousand years. And we know this in Christian cultures, so it is utterly inexcusable to me that you have Christian cultures, Christian media, or people that are born in a Christian culture, again to the medias here and so on, that in the Western world, that are so quick and so willing to pump out Islamic propaganda and lies. You know, because for whatever reason they want to rewrite the whole history of the Middle East, and pump into people's minds things that never existed. Islam never came into existence for about like 700 years at least after the Common Era. It could be even longer than that, according to a few scholars that I've come across, sort of thing. So you have even more of a time period where this religion didn't even exist. You know, when Christianity was already old and Judaism was already ancient by the time this religion came along. You know, it came into existence. It took over the Middle Eastern world, and because the Jewish people refused to accept this new prophet and all the rest of it, and this way of thinking and all the rest of it. I don't know what the figures are, but like thousands upon thousands of Jewish people in that day and age were slaughtered because they would accept that prophet. And so my understanding is that a great many Arab people in that region that maybe call themselves Palestinian today, they were once Jewish. They were once Jewish themselves. Their ancestors were once Jewish when Islam first came into that area, and those that didn't die by the sword, that wouldn't accept this new message, and force the Jewish people to convert, they become Muslims. But a lot of these Muslims people now probably don't even realize that their ancestors were once Jewish. You know, so I mean, it's insane the difference in a narrative that we have seen develop over the past couple of years and so on, that from all these young woke brainwashed kids that tell a completely different narrative from what can be substantially proven to be the difference of the matter sort of thing, you know. So I came across a comment someone said there only a few nights back. He claimed that Yeshua was Muslim. He claimed that Jerusalem was Muslim, you know. And it's like, and I guess the whole entire region was Muslim, you know. So what kind of alternative twilight world do you live in that you can honestly buy into that and honestly believe that, when there's no serious scholar anywhere in the friggin' world whatsoever that you will laugh your head off at saying that, you know? Yeshua was a Jew. He died a Jew. He professed a type of Judaism that was common for his day and age. Who knows if it's even completely 100% jiving with modern day Judaism? I don't know. You're talking about 2,000 years ago, you know. But one thing that could be substantiated with 100% certainty was that he was a Jew, living in a Jewish state, you know, in a Jewish part of the world, you know, 2,000 years ago. You know, nothing to do with Islam whatsoever. That hadn't come along for several hundred years yet, sort of thing. So kids believe this nonsense, though. Kids are brainwashed to believe this garbage, and they're pumping it out into the rest of the world. There's no Palestinian state, no Palestinian people. That never ever existed. It never ever existed, sort of thing. You know, and yet these brainwashed kids are so 100% convinced of this that they'll tear down the whole friggin' Western world in order to fanatically push this cause on the rest of us, sort of thing. You know, that's how much these extremists have taken the minds of these kids and turned it into mush to push their agenda. You know. And so I've been thinking about it recently a lot over the past several days and so on, that these extremists now, guys, they don't have to do a darn thing themselves. I'm going to check the time, and I'm going into an hour again. I better watch out. They don't have to do a darn thing themselves, guys, because now they got their minions all throughout the Western world, all these brainwashed woke youth that do their bidding for them, sort of thing. They don't have to lift a finger now. All they got to do is just organise another demonstration, another protest, and watch these fanatical kids do their work for them, sort of thing. It's sickening, it's putrid, it's stomach churning, you know. It is very dangerous, it is extremely concerning. It's more concerning when you got the government's complicit with it, when you've got policing agencies that won't do a damn thing to protect anybody that speaks out against it, sort of thing. When you realize that Jewish people now are feeling less and less and less safe all over the world now, sort of thing, because they're being targeted more and more and more, and anti-Semitism is on the rise again because of it, sort of thing. And that's the very sort of thing that these extremists want. That's what they try to create in the world, this kind of atmosphere, so people can hate on Jewish people, completely unfounded, because it's within their fanatical idea of what their religion is about, sort of thing. And they're pushing that. They'll die, they'll sacrifice their lives, they'll sacrifice thousands and thousands of people and so on, to push this lying propaganda into the rest of the world, sort of thing. And far too many people, far too many people, guys, are buying into it because they won't educate themselves properly. Right now, I feel that it's one of the biggest threats to the Western world right now that we face. It's not global warming, it's not the spread of communism. Communism is mixed in there somehow, all these friggin', like I call, unholy alliances, sort of thing. It's the spread of this form of religion, this fanatical form of religion that's trying to weasel its way into our societies, take over our societies, and turn our societies into carbon copies of the worlds that they live in, the Muslim worlds that they live in. Tear down our democracies, tear down our Christian way of thinking and our Christian cultures and our Christian ethics and all the rest of it. Replace it with theirs, where women aren't safe anymore. Women are just property. You know, they have no rights, they have no freedom, the beginning of it, sort of thing. We don't really have any freedom of speech if it speaks out against their way of thinking to any degree. I don't think they really push business and economy and all this sort of stuff, because it's not great economies in most of these countries, because like they're not big on that sort of thing, you know. So everything that makes the Western world, guys, they're trying to tear down, you know. These extremists and the moderate Muslims, if there's any such thing as a moderate Muslim, they won't do a damn thing. They won't speak up against it. Look, they wonder. They keep screaming out Islamophobia and bigotry and all the rest of it, sort of thing. But when we see the hundreds of millions of Muslims the world over that claim to be moderate Muslims, that acknowledge that this extremism exists in their religion, but yet won't do a damn thing to speak out against it, won't demonstrate against it and all the rest of it, sort of thing. That silence indicates to me, and should indicate to any thinking person, that they're complicit with all that themselves, that they agree with all that themselves. Or else, if you really care about the Western world and you really care about freedom and democracy yourself, and you want to live a better life for yourself in these democracies, then come online with us, come on side with us, and start to demonstrate in mass, in your millions, against extremism in your own religion. That's what I want to see. Okay, that's what I want to see start to rise up in the Muslim world, sort of thing. Not this stone cold silence that indicates to me that you support the extremism. Get out there and demonstrate with us and say that you've had enough of it as well, you know, because it's making you look bad. But if you don't do that, then that leads me to believe that you're on side with this extremist ideology. And you too want to see Israel destroyed, and you too want to see the Western world turn into a Muslim extremist crapo, basically, if I'm going to be bluntly honest with you, if I can say that, and I might have problems with the video, you know, because how else am I supposed to think, guys? How else is any normal thinking person outside of your religion supposed to think about all this sort of stuff when you won't speak up, when you won't speak out, when every moderate, liberal-minded Muslim, if any such thing exists, should be out there demonstrating with those of us that side with Israel into your hundreds of millions, and we should see that. Okay, and that most certainly would send a clear message to the rest of the world, and would send a clear message to the extremists within your religion. Enough is enough. They can't get away with this madness anymore. But you're not doing that. You won't do that. You know, so I personally have difficulty trusting any of you because you won't do that sort of thing. So that's something else we need to see change very soon, guys, is attitudes within the Muslim world itself, you know, especially the Muslims that move to the Western world and try to, you know, move into Western cultures and have lives there. You know, like, we don't want to lose our cultures. We don't want to lose our way of life, you know. So you come here. What do you come here for? If you don't see something better in our cultures, then what do you come here for? Stay in your countries. Stay in the places where your religion dominates and just be comfortable there. If that's all you want, don't come here and try to dismantle and tear down our cultures. We don't want it. Thinking people in the West don't want it. Those who haven't been brainwashed yet, the millions, billions of masses of young people and older people as well, I should know a damn sight better, don't want it. We can see the difference. We can see what you're trying to do, and we don't want it. And if you're not trying to do that, then start rising up and start speaking out and start proving to people like myself that you don't want it either. You side with us. Okay? So I'm just going to leave that on that there now, guys. Almost an hour in there now, so I'm so easy to go through an hour here, sort of thing. So I don't even know how to title this right now, guys. It's another impromptu video. Once I get started on this sort of stuff, the stuff comes to the surface. I start getting aggravated and frustrated and all the rest of it sort of thing. I got my poor cat here, half scared to death. She's been skittish the past day, so I don't know what's going on with her. I hope she's okay.